Hi everybody, we're doing another video on the past papers, the Edexcel English Language Unit 1, which is Context and Identity. This is Section A. In the first video, I've spoken about how we can actually start the thing, which is, in short, to use the information which is given to us in general terms, and before each of the texts you would like to highlight a lot. You would like to note down the ideas that just come to you when you create that general picture about who is speaking, in what context they're doing this, and so on and so forth. In this video, I would like to pay more attention to the content of each of the genres given to us in this particular past paper. You may remember that we're speaking about a teacher, Carl Roberts. He's presented, or his voice rather, is presented in the article, which is text A, and text B. In text B, there is Michelle Obama speaking in Madrid about the initiative Let Girls Learn, and so on. So you may see that there are a lot of colors because I've prepared some things beforehand. I actually have no idea how this video should turn out, and there are several reasons for it. First of all, students keep on asking each year, what is the plan, or what is the sequence of movements, events that we need to fulfill and kind of have the work done. I think that's the wrong question, because I wouldn't say that there is a defined sequence of what you have to do, and then you have the work done. Of course, there are the bullet points mentioned in the task, and also you should have some picture about the structure of what you're writing in general terms, but what it is exactly that you're going to put there really depends on the particular context and wording, the language and use, the speaker, which is given to us. Because I would say that the major point about this section, about this task, is that on reading, on understanding the ideas within the context and in relation to the speaker, and being able to use the terminology of the language, I mean the linguistic terminology, all this is coming together, which makes it for which makes a good answer possible, if it makes sense to you. But I would put a good deal of randomness and the students' skill, ability to act on spot in the written form in order to come up with the best possible result. So I would like to present a set of my ideas, why I've highlighted these things and what they may be presented for, and after that to see how many of those ideas we have. Today I would like to focus more on the general context, yet without moving deeper into the language issues and terminology and linguistics. So you may remember that we're speaking about Carl Roberts in text A. It's very important that there is the author's voice, as we've said, because it is the author who's writing the text and presenting Carl Roberts. In green, there are Carl Roberts' words. So at the beginning, he is speaking directly about what his take on the problem of education and a gap for the white working class boys in England is. It's all about modeling positive behavior for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Actually, it's rather the function that he highlights directly. So if we put the terminology about the context, it will be function in direct speech. In the second paragraph, so a good idea when you look through for the first time is just to understand the structure and evaluate the context, what you can say, which is the topics, the whys, which is the function, and so on. And you relate the context to the wording. Okay, so what words make you say that this is his function, this is why he's speaking or writing, or this is what he's speaking of, which is the field. So the main field here, as we've said before, is education, primarily in England. He states a white working class boy is less than half as likely to get 5 good GCSEs, and the gap between how poor and middle class pupils do. So he highlights the details of the problem. After that, he explains his stance in detail. Again, direct speech. So I'm not sure. Yeah, it is put here. So I've said before that speaking of the language in use, we can definitely speak about direct speech, which should be a feature mentioned in our evaluation. So the author presents his direct speech, the Carl Roberts speech, in order to speak about the problem, explain his point of view, and support the argument. So we will see. He's the one, describing the details about the problem, about the main field, and he's also the one who is very related to the problem. So we will see it later. Here he says, we'll be worried about their parents, they will be worried about where their next meal is coming from, and suddenly they're no longer worried about passing exams. So he suggests here that there are other things, right, for the pupils to care of, and as consequence of that, they're not able to make progress in their studies. It's a good point to highlight here that the use of the word worried, it is a repetition, so we want to highlight it. Yes, when we highlight the words, we need to understand why we need them, because when we speak about the language in use, we need the words, yes, but we also need to relate the language in use to the contextual factors. So here we're saying that he gives details, reasons, yes, for the problem to exist. And in the language in use, he uses repetition in order to highlight that there are a lot of worries for the pupils, which presents the problems. So it may appear as a mishmash of ideas, but usually this is how we do it with the students. So it's not about me giving, what should be written down, but rather to sustain a dialogue with the student. And this is how we usually come up with good suggestions, which we then use in the written form in our article, in our answer. So moving on. Here we've said that he gives details to the problem, the reasons why it exists among the white boys. Then the author, here in this paragraph says that Carl Roberts can relate to this. This means having problems. And why is that? Because his background is just like of those boys in this paragraph. So the author gives details to the Carl Roberts story. And this is very important for that picture, for that identity of Carl Roberts, because he's the main character of the article. I think it's clear already. And we said it before that we need to distinguish between why the author gives something and why Carl Roberts speaks about something. So here, the author decides to give some background story to... what do you think? Why does the author give it? Just think about it. If we highlight it in a question, why does the author give some personal story about Carl Roberts? Just try to answer it yourself. Okay, my suggestion is that the author depicts or builds up that picture about Carl Roberts being, a knowledgeable within this field, the academia in particular, because of the same background. So he used to be one of those boys that he's now speaking of. And this is very important. It clings, yes, with everything that we can read in the article too. So after that we have another quotation. We by the way, may see that structure-wise, there is a quote here in this paragraph. Then there is no quote. Then we also have another quote, no quote, and then we have another one. So this is also for the author to decide how to manage these quotes, what structure to present. Yeah, that's another interesting feature that can be highlighted. So Carl Roberts speaks about his mission. My childhood shapes my values, which is why I now work with children from disadvantaged backgrounds to ensure that they can have the future. I think this is very important here, because this speaks directly about him, and the author chooses to put it somewhere in between. We don't have the second part of the article, but it is more or less given in between the beginning, at least in the middle, of the first page. And we may say that this is maybe the main point about Carl Roberts that the author wants to show, that he is on a mission. What is his mission? To ensure that these boys can have the future, just like him. Yeah, it's very important. After that, the author decides to change the tone to negative. Why is that? Because the author wants to explain in detail what causes the main problem, which is that there are so many disadvantaged boys. We've had that perspective from Carl Roberts at the beginning, which was kind of the introduction. Now the author decides to present it without any of Carl Roberts' words, by the way, so we do not have any quotations here. So it is the author's take here in this paragraph. Another important point to speak of is about the language. In this particular paragraph, we may highlight that there are when we speak about the tone here, we say that it's negative. It means that we inevitably speak about what? Lexes. Okay, so we need to evaluate the lexes, because it is the words that sustain or present the negative tone, that they carry connotation and so on and so forth. Here, these words are as follows. Let's just highlight them. So there in blue. Damage, deprived pupils' prospects. After that, we have low educated parents, gap, and then disadvantaged children. So these are the details to explain the problem away, to present it in very negative terms, to show that it exists and it is a problem. After that, in relation to this introduction given by the author, we have Carl Roberts' words again. So you may see this structure repeated. I want to show it here. We have quotation, no quotation, quotation in paragraphs, no quotation, and so on and so forth. So here, in the next paragraph, we have Carl Roberts' words again, which is direct speech. This is a wider issue, he says, actually nothing to do with schools, and he suggests that it's a social issue, not an educational issue. So he suggests that the problem is within families, right? He suggests that it is the family who is primarily responsible for the problem in white boys' education. This is also can also be added to what we write about him in relation to the problem. How much have I been speaking? Around 16 minutes. Okay. I just don't want it to be too much, but I think we can take Michelle Obama too, because I don't want to split the texts, because a good continuation to look, when we speak about the plan, by the way, so we've thought about the general details in the previous video. In this video, we get down to look at the content, right, which is given to us related to the speaker's identity and so on and so forth. I've said about it before. We cover only a part of the article, by the way, otherwise it becomes too much. This is what students are trained to do, to cover a lot of volume quickly, to suggest the ideas and then put them in the written form. So we proceed with text B, and after that a reasonable continuation is to try and compare, because you may remember that the task is about creating a comparative evaluation or evaluative comparison. So we need to see what's going on in both of the genres given to us. Text B, we have Michelle Obama. I will do my best to be shorter compared to text A. You can pause. I think it's a good idea, by the way, to pause, because we're trying to sustain that dialogue. At least I'm trying to do that with you, not simply present the ideas, but try to reason them out and see what are the relations between them. So now we're moving into what is Michelle Obama saying and why, and what the whole thing is about. So she's in Madrid. She starts with a conventional greeting. So I think I haven't put it here. Speaking of the language, of course, it's reasonable to say everywhere what are the conventions of the genre. Yes. So here we have a conventional greeting, and we can say that it sets the tone, and the tone is positive. Why is it positive? Because he makes a joke at the beginning of the speech. She uses code switching. She speaks Spanish and she makes a joke about it, which is one word in Spanish is the only thing that she knows, which is pretty funny. After that, she proceeds speaking in this positive tone. She thanks the audience, so there is a direct contact with the audience. She addresses the audience directly, and how do we know that? Why is it positive? Yeah, we now speak about the lexes. Look, in addressing the audience, she uses these adjectives. They are brilliant, ambitious, accomplished young women who are fortunate, and so on and so forth. So a list of these adjectives that carry positive connotation, by the way, helps her to start on a positive note. Okay? And after that, she highlights the main field. I've just thought that there are people leaving the space, and I've been speaking for around 20 minutes, so I believe that nobody had left before I came, and now everybody is living around me. But I'm not sure that it's because of me. Nevertheless, so she suggests that the main field is the problems, yes, that other girls face. She says that there are 62 million girls worldwide, and many of them face these problems. What are these problems? So in this part, she's gonna speak about those problems mainly. So she starts by saying they can't develop their full potential, they don't have a chance to attend school, so they're not as fortunate as the ones living in Madrid. Yeah, there is a comparison of some sort. And then she says that these facts don't just affect their life prospects, they affect the prospects of their families and their countries, affect all of you and your country as well. So just like Carl Roberts, you may remember that he repeated the word worried. She repeats the word affect. Look, in two of these paragraphs, by the way, she does this here. This is a feature of the language, yeah, so a lexical repetition. Why does she want to highlight the effect and everything which stands nearby? It is because the main field of her speech is problems that the girls in different countries face, and she highlights that in Spain girls are fortunate, yes, and those girls that are not fortunate, not only do they have problems, but also because of these problems the society is affected. Actually it is the family which is affected, then it is the society which is affected, and then the whole world, including Spain, which is affected. So she's building up that gradation of effect, yeah, family, then society, which is the country, and then the whole world. So it is the domino effect of some sort that she is implying here, and this is her core argument. So we're moving to this paragraph right now. She gives details to what is going on with the unfortunate girls. So I've said that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 details that she gives here. Why do they have problems? Lower salaries. Primarily they don't go to school. It's not highlighted for some reason. So they don't go to school. 2, they earn lower salaries. Then they get married earlier. Then it's higher infant and maternal mortality rates, more likely to contract HIV, and then less likely to immunize their children. It's, by the way, not why they have the problem. Sorry, I've presented it wrongly, but it's what the consequences of not having a chance to educate yourself at school are. So she presents 6 outcomes of that main problem. She will be speaking about the African countries, I believe, primarily. Sudan, she said. Well, we will see. She uses affect a lot again. Affect the family, affect economies, affect the health, affect, prosperity, security. We can highlight a field of words that are used here and say that it is, we don't have it yet, but it's going to be semantic field of problems, individual problems and social problems within the society. In one sentence, her idea is as follows: if the girls do not receive education at school, they are likely to have a lot of problems. So I've suggested it here. No education means a lot of problems, not only for them, but for the society. I believe it is very important. It's very important that she highlights the society, because you may remember that she presents the initiative, which is let girls learn, right? And it is implied, the implication is that the initiative is aimed at helping not only the girls, but also the society, meaning the families, everything that she has highlighted already. And this is exactly what she speaks of after that. So this is the main function here. That's part of the reason why I'm here today. Okay, and she, by the way, will refer to Africa, Liberia, and Morocco. So these are the countries primarily she will be speaking or referring to. These are the countries where girls struggle every day, as she says. In what words she highlights the problem? Once again, in this paragraph, she uses struggle and triumph, then inspire and advocate for change. I would say that this is another semantic field, the tone of inspiration here. Maybe it's not really important, but if you're lacking points, that will do. That these words are really, high flown, and they make the register higher, the tone higher compared to everything, to many things suggested before. In the next paragraph, she speaks about the main field in details. So what are the problems that the girls face? In particular, she speaks about Liberia. This is the place she's referring to. So she says that in Liberia, the girls are often shamed, pressured to drop off out of school. Also, they face dangerous communities. They are sexually harassed or assaulted at school. So, she speaks about Liberia. Yeah, the field is the same, the problems at school, or why girls drop, or why they need education. You may put it in any words you like. Why does she do it? What's the function? To support the claim she's made before. What is the claim? The claim is that girls need to go to school. Yeah, the unfortunate, quote-unquote, girls have to go to school. Otherwise, they face these problems, right, mentioned here. And on the example of Liberia, there are these problems, in particular why they drop off, drop out of school. I think this is a particular, by the way, I haven't seen it before. We can suggest here that the function, not only to support the claim made before, but I would also say present the reasons why girls drop out. So, of course, she supports the claim made before. This is the main function, yes? So we can suggest that it's not the primary, but maybe secondary. Secondary function is to exemplify, yeah? Because she gives an example of Liberia. So she presents the reasons why girls drop out of school in Liberia. After that, she gives an example of Morocco, which will also be negative. I think you can see here that here in the in these two paragraphs, tone is negative, yeah, and we have two examples, two different countries, Liberia and Morocco. She wants to exemplify a wide range of problems related to having no education among girls or dropping out of school. So in Morocco, she says girls in rural areas do not go to school because schools are often hours away, so it's a long distance for them to cover. So they are kept home instead to do household labor, which is number 2, and they get married and they start having children of their own. So no school, and the whole thing begins, yeah, instead of going to school. Tone said, I've said before, not negative, but I put before that it's sad. Pretty sad tone, yeah. Also, I've written that there is an implication. I believe she speaks about, so in this paragraph, in the next one, here, she speaks that in Madrid, yeah, in Spain, in Madrid in particular, girls are brilliant, ambitions, and so on and so forth. So they are lucky. And the implication is that in Morocco and Liberia, girls are not as lucky, right? And their dreams do not come true, even though they may have big plans for their lives. It may not happen because of this, what is given before. After that, so I've written that she has a rhetorical function to make the audience think with herself about the problem, which I believe the question is, are these girls worthy of an education in the first place? And this is in the yellow here. Girls are even worthy of an education in the first place. So she asks a rhetorical question, yeah? She invites the audience to think together. On the contrary, she suggests maybe, yeah, if they're not worthy of an education, then their bodies are for their labor. Their bodies are only for the reproductive function. It is the reproductive capacity. Maybe they are second-class citizens, or they're nonetheless full human beings, which means that they are actually worthy of an education. So this is a very nice paragraph. I think it actually concludes this section if we put it in some sections. So This must be section 1, because we have the same amount then of her speech with which she moves on. So I've been speaking for half an hour, and I hope that those who survive these detailed, evaluations and suggestions from my side, you are left satisfied with the way that these ideas are presented. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to drop them in the comment section. Always willing and happy to answer them. Think together in the written form in the comment section. So long story short, this is the way I am moving on through these texts. The next step for us will be, I think, to suggest the points for a comparative evaluation, which will be the content for the next video. So let's call it for this one. Thank you very much, those who've reached this point with me, and till the next one. Bye bye.